This military laser just changed everything. In May 2025, DARPA transmitted 800 watts of power over 8.6 kilometers. No wires, no cables. But here's what they're not telling you. Nikola Tesla invented this in 1901. So why are you still paying electricity bills? Imagine a world where energy is free, abundant, and accessible to everyone, everywhere. No more power bills, no more reliance on fossil fuels, no more energy poverty. Sounds like a utopian dream, right? A fantasy cooked up in a science fiction novel, but what if I told you this wasn't just a dream, but a vision? A reality almost achieved over a century ago by a man whose genius was so far ahead of his time. It threatened the very foundations of power and profit. This is the story of Nikola Tesla, a name synonymous with brilliance, innovation, and, for some, a profound betrayal. You know his name from the electric car, perhaps from the AC current that powers your home. But what if the most revolutionary of his ideas, the one that could have changed humanity forever, was deliberately suppressed, buried by an establishment that saw free energy not as a gift, but as a threat to their control? This isn't just history. It's a chilling tale of ambition, greed, and the relentless war waged against a future that could have been ours. Today, we're going to uncover the silenced truth behind Tesla's battle against the establishment and the infinite free energy they didn't want you to have. Nikola Tesla was more than just an inventor. He was a futurist, a man who saw the world not as it was, but as it could be. While his contemporaries were perfecting systems that relied on wires and meters, Tesla envisioned a world powered wirelessly, where electricity flowed as freely as the air we breathe. He wasn't just theorizing, he was building. His most audacious project, the Wardenclyffe Tower, was meant to be the cornerstone of a global wireless power system. Imagine a towering structure, humming with unseen energy, transmitting electricity through the very ground beneath our feet, or even through the air itself, using the Earth's natural resonance and the ionosphere as conductors. This wasn't just about convenience, it was about liberation. Tesla believed that access to energy was a fundamental human right, a key to unlocking global prosperity and peace. He saw a future where remote villages in developing nations could have light, where communication was instantaneous across continents, all without the need for expensive infrastructure or a single power bill. It was a vision of abundance, a radical departure from the scarcity model that governed the world. He wasn't just trying to make a buck, he was trying to change the world, to uplift humanity. But this grand vision, this dream of infinite free energy, collided head-on with a powerful reality, the established order, built on the very scarcity Tesla sought to dismantle. And that collision would prove to be his undoing. Before the dream of free energy, Tesla first had to win the war of currents. This wasn't just a technical debate, it was a full-blown war for the future of electricity, pitting Tesla's revolutionary alternating current against Thomas Edison's established direct current. Edison, a brilliant inventor in his own right, was also a shrewd businessman with a vast empire built on DC technology. He saw Tesla's AC system not as a superior innovation, but as a direct threat to his financial interests. And so began a ruthless propaganda campaign to discredit AC, with Edison publicly electrocuting animals to prove its dangers. It was a brutal, public spectacle, a war of ideas fought in the press and in the streets. But Tesla, backed by George Westinghouse, ultimately prevailed. AC's ability to transmit power efficiently over long distances was simply undeniable, and it became the standard that powers our world today. This victory, however, came at a cost. It was Tesla's first taste of the establishment's resistance to disruptive change, a foreshadowing of the much larger battle to come. He had won the war of currents, but he had also made powerful enemies, men who would not forget the threat he posed to their control over the energy market. And as Tesla's ambitions grew, from simply powering cities to powering the entire world for free, those enemies would be waiting, ready to ensure that his most radical vision would never see the light of day. The Wardenclyffe Tower was to be Tesla's magnum opus, the physical embodiment of his dream of a wireless world. With initial funding from the powerful financier J.P. Morgan, Tesla began construction on a massive tower on Long Island, New York. But Morgan's investment was based on the tower's potential for wireless communication, a direct competitor to the transatlantic telegraph cables he also controlled. When Morgan discovered that Tesla's true intention was not just to send messages, but to transmit power wirelessly, and potentially for free, he pulled his funding. The logic was simple and brutal. How do you put a meter on free energy? How do you profit from something that is available to everyone? Morgan, and the establishment he represented, had no interest in a technology they couldn't control and monetize. The withdrawal of funding was a death blow to the project. Tesla, ever the idealist, had believed that the sheer brilliance of his idea would be enough to secure its future. He had underestimated the power of greed, the relentless drive for profit that defined the industrial age. The half-finished Wardenclyffe Tower stood for years as a monument to a stolen future, a symbol of a world that could have been, before it was eventually dismantled and sold for scrap. This wasn't just a business failure, it was a deliberate act of suppression. A clear message from the establishment: innovation that threatens our control will not be tolerated. In 2025, when DARPA succeeded, they celebrated by making popcorn? Seriously, just like Tesla. Lit bulbs wirelessly in 1891. But there's one crucial difference. Tesla wanted to power homes. The Pentagon, they're powering drones. That tells you everything. The dream of free energy was not just deferred, it was actively sabotaged. And Tesla, the man who had given the world a sea power, was left broken, his grandest vision shattered by the very forces he had sought to empower. After Tesla's death in 1943, the story takes an even more sinister turn. Within hours of his passing, agents from the FBI's Office of Alien Property Custodian swooped in and seized all of his belongings, including his research papers, notebooks, and blueprints. The official reason was national security, a concern that his inventions, particularly his rumored death ray, could fall into enemy hands during World War II. But for many, this was a convenient excuse to confiscate the work of a man who had been a thorn in the side of the establishment for decades. What happened to those papers? While some were eventually released to his family, many remained classified, fueling decades of speculation and conspiracy theories. Did they contain the secrets to free energy, plans for advanced weaponry, or perhaps, as some believe, evidence of communication with extraterrestrial intelligence? The truth remains locked away in government vaults, a silenced truth that continues to fascinate. The seizure of Tesla's papers represents the ultimate act of suppression, the final, posthumous victory of the establishment over a man they could never fully control. It's a chilling reminder of how easily knowledge can be hidden, how history can be rewritten, and how the legacy of a genius can be co-opted and controlled by those in power. The missing papers are more than just a historical curiosity. They are a symbol of the ongoing struggle for transparency and the public's right to know. And they raise a disturbing question. What other silenced truths remain hidden from us, locked away in the secret archives of power? The story of Nikola Tesla is not just a historical tragedy. It's a cautionary tale that echoes powerfully in our modern world. The same forces that suppressed his vision of free energy, corporate greed, government control, and a resistance to disruptive change, are still at play today. Think about the ongoing debate over renewable energy, the powerful lobbying efforts of the fossil fuel industry, or the suppression of research that challenges established scientific or medical paradigms. The pattern is eerily similar. Innovation that threatens entrenched interests is often met with fierce resistance, ridicule, and even outright suppression. Tesla's story is a powerful reminder that the fight for a better future is not just about technological innovation. It's about challenging the power structures that seek to maintain the status quo for their own benefit. It's about demanding transparency, accountability, in a world where progress is measured not by profit, but by its ability to uplift all of humanity. The silenced truth of Tesla's life is that we are all, in a sense, living in the shadow of his suppressed dream. We are paying for energy that could have been free. We are grappling with environmental crises that could have been averted. And we are living in a world that is less connected, less equitable, and less magical than the one he envisioned. But his story is also a source of inspiration. It's a testament to the power of a single individual to challenge the establishment, to dream of a better world, and to fight for that dream, even in the face of overwhelming opposition. And it's a call to action for all to question the limitations imposed upon us, to challenge the narratives we are fed, and to demand a future where the pursuit of knowledge and the betterment of humanity are not suppressed, but celebrated. What do you think? Tesla's vision of infinite free energy wasn't just a technological marvel. It was a profound threat to the very economic and political structures of his time, and arguably of ours. Imagine a world where the most fundamental resource is no longer a commodity to be bought and sold. What happens to the oil companies, the coal barons, the utility giants, the entire financial system built on the scarcity and control of power? This is the silenced truth at the heart of Tesla's suppression. His ideas didn't just challenge existing technology, they challenged the very concept of centralized control and profit. J.P. Morgan, the financier who initially backed Wardenclyffe, famously asked Tesla, "Where do I put the meter?" This wasn't a question about engineering. It was a question about monetization. And when Tesla explained that his system would provide energy without a meter, without a bill, Morgan's interest vanished. It wasn't about the feasibility of the technology, it was about the profitability. The establishment understood that free energy would democratize power, shifting control from corporations and governments to the individual. It would disrupt industries, redistribute wealth, and fundamentally alter the balance of power. This was a future they could not allow. They didn't just want to control the energy. They wanted to control the flow of money, the dependency of the population. Tesla's dream was not just about electricity. It was about liberation, about empowering humanity beyond the grasp of economic exploitation. And for that, he became a target. His vision was too radical, too liberating, too dangerous to the established order. The story of Wardenclyffe's demise is not just a tale of financial mismanagement, it's a chilling illustration of how powerful interests will actively suppress innovation that threatens their control, even if that innovation could benefit all of humanity. It's a reminder that progress is not always driven by what's best for society, but often by what's most profitable for the few. And the price of that profit was a future we never got to experience. A future where energy poverty could have been a relic of the past. The war against Tesla was a war against abundance, a war for scarcity, and a war that, tragically, the establishment won, but the echoes of that battle, the whispers of what could have been, continue to resonate, urging us to question the systems that still govern our lives, and to demand a future where human well-being triumphs over corporate greed. The silence around this economic suppression is a truth that demands to be heard, for it reveals the true cost of a world built on control rather than collaboration. And in understanding this, we begin to see the invisible chains that still bind us to a system that profits from our dependency. This is the real war Tesla fought, and it's a war that continues to this day. For decades, Tesla's dream of wireless power remained largely theoretical, dismissed by many as utopian fantasy or even pseudoscience. His Wardenclyffe Tower stood as a monument to a failed ambition, a testament to the limitations of his era, or so we were told. But what if the seeds he planted, though seemingly buried, were merely waiting for the right conditions to sprout? Fast forward to today, and we are witnessing a remarkable resurgence of interest in wireless energy transmission, driven by advancements that echo Tesla's original concepts. Recent breakthroughs by agencies like DARPA, the U.S. military's Advanced Research Projects Agency, are proving that Tesla's vision was not only possible, but is now becoming a tangible reality. Imagine transmitting hundreds of watts of power over several kilometers, not through wires, but through focused beams of light. This isn't science fiction anymore. It's happening. Experiments in places like New Mexico have demonstrated the feasibility of converting electricity into concentrated light beams, then back into usable power, even making popcorn as a symbolic gesture of success. While the current efficiency might seem low, and the immediate applications are often military, powering drones in mid-flight, supplying energy to remote outposts in conflict zones, the implications are staggering. This modern validation of wireless power, nearly a century after Tesla's death, forces us to confront uncomfortable questions. If this technology is now viable, why was it suppressed for so long? Was it truly a matter of technological limitations? Or was it, as Tesla himself experienced, a deliberate act by those who profit from scarcity? The fact that military agencies are now at the forefront of this research, rather than civilian initiatives focused on global access, adds another layer to the narrative of control. It suggests that, while the technology itself is no longer deniable, its application remains firmly within the grasp of powerful institutions, echoing the very struggles Tesla faced with J.P. Morgan. The dream of free universal energy might still be distant, but the technological barriers are crumbling. The real battle, it seems, is not against the laws of physics, but against the entrenched interests that benefit from keeping humanity dependent. Tesla's ghost perhaps watch us on, a silent witness to the slow, often painful, realization of his prophecies and the ongoing war for the future of energy. This modern validation is a powerful testament to his foresight, but it also serves as a stark reminder that the fight for a truly liberated future is far from over. It forces us to ask, who truly benefits from these advancements? And will the promise of free energy ever truly be realized for all? Or will it remain a tool for control in the hands of the few? Share this before it gets buried. Like Tesla's tower, like his papers, like the truth always is. And speaking of forgotten geniuses, next episode, we expose how Britain chemically castrated the gay mathematician who invented computers and saved 14 million lives in World War II. The man who gave us AI was murdered by his own government. Subscribe so you don't miss the Turing tragedy.